I noticed the suitcases before I noticed her face. Two of them, upright, zipped, placed neatly beside a green bench that had seen better paint. My granddaughter was sitting on one like it was a temporary throne, swinging her legs, watching pigeons with the kind of concentration only children manage. My daughter was staring at nothing. It was 2 in the afternoon. She should have been at the office. I stopped walking, but didn't call out immediately. I wanted to understand the shape of what I was looking at before I stepped into it. When she finally saw me, she didn't stand. She didn't smile either. There was a pause. Not embarrassment, not shame, something steadier than that. Like someone who had just been told the rules of a game had changed mid play. Why aren't you at my company? I asked. I have always referred to it that way in public. My company, not ours, not the family business. I built it alone and I kept it professionally distant from family ties, especially after she married Daniel. She exhaled once, controlled. I got fired. The word didn't land dramatically, it just sat there between us. On what grounds? She looked down at her daughter. The little one had stopped swinging her legs. Children always sense the gravity of adult conversations. My father in law said my bloodline wasn't worthy of leadership. She said it the way someone quotes a line from a contract. I felt something move inside my chest, not anger first, recognition. Daniel's father had always believed legacy meant pedigree. His family name had history, universities carved into stone, oil portraits in hallways. They spoke of heritage like it was currency. I had grown up in a one-bedroom apartment above a hardware store. I looked at my granddaughter. She was tracing a crack in the suitcase handle with her thumb, trying to look occupied, trying not to listen. Did Daniel agree? I asked. She hesitated. He said it would be smoother this way. Smoother. I nodded once. Then I smiled, not because it was funny and not because I was pleased, because I understood the moment required steadiness. Get in the car. She studied my face for signs of fury. I gave her none. On the drive, there was very little conversation. I asked only practical questions. Where were they planning to stay? Had she signed anything? Did she receive her documentation? She had an email. No severance discussion yet. No formal board review. Good. When we pulled into the underground parking at headquarters, she finally spoke. I don't want this to be a scene. It won't be, I said. That was the truth. The lobby greeted us the way it greets everyone: quiet marble, polite reception, discreet nods. My granddaughter held my hand. Her grip tightened when the elevator doors closed. On the executive floor, Daniel looked surprised, but not unsettled. Dad, he said, using the title he had adopted after marriage, though we both knew it was conditional. We didn't expect you today. I'm aware, I replied. His father was already there, silver-haired. Composed, he rose slightly from his chair but did not extend the hand. We've handled the transition, he said before I could sit. It's better for the company. I took my place at the head of the table. For years, I had allowed Daniel to operate as CEO publicly. It was part of the succession plan: gradual transfer, structured mentorship. I remained majority shareholder, but I believed authority should feel real to be effective. So I stayed quiet more often than I spoke. Neutrality can be mistaken for absence. I received no board notification, I said calmly. It was an internal decision, Daniel answered. Operational alignment. Removing a director requires board ratification, I replied. You know that. His father shifted slightly. We were protecting the brand, he said. Leadership reflects lineage, stability, reputation. There it was again. Lineage. I pressed a small button on the table. The general counsel entered within seconds. She had been waiting. Authority does not need to raise its voice. I've called an emergency board session, I said. Minutes are being recorded. Daniel's posture changed just slightly. His father's expression tightened. The dismissal of Director Elena Ruiz was executed without procedural compliance, I continued. Effective immediately, that action is suspended pending review. Silence. The council distributed printed copies of the company charter. Highlighted sections, signatures, dates. I build this company on performance metrics, I said, not surnames. Daniel inhaled to speak, but I continued. You were appointed CEO under conditional governance. I retain controlling interests for precisely this reason. If decisions are made on criteria outside performance or ethics, authority reverts. It was not a threat. It was architecture. The board members joined by video within minutes. The discussion was brief, no shouting, no theatrics. The vote was clear, the termination was nullified. An independent review committee would assess conduct, including discriminatory rationale cited in internal correspondence. Daniel did not look at my daughter during the meeting. His father stared at the polished table surface. When it ended, I stood. Elena's position is reinstated effective immediately, I said. Whether she chooses to continue is her decision. I walked to the door and opened it. My granddaughter was seated outside with the executive assistant, drawing on a legal pad. She looked up at me. Are we going home? She asked. Yes, I said, but not with suitcases. Back in the hallway, my daughter remained stay for a moment. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. I should have been clearer about who I was, I replied. I had believed stepping back would protect her from accusations of favoritism. Instead, it allowed someone else to question her right to stand there at all. I don't know if I want to stay, she admitted. That's yours to decide, I said. Power restored does not erase insult. As we walked toward the elevator, employees pretended not to watch. News travels quickly in buildings like this. Daniel finally spoke from behind us. Elena. She stopped, but did not turn. I didn't think, he began. No, she said calmly. You didn't. And that was all. In the car, my granddaughter leaned against her mother's shoulder. Are we important again? She asked. My daughter closed her eyes briefly. You were always important, she said. Some people just needed reminding. I watched the road ahead. There would be consequences, reviews, tension at the next board meeting. A marriage under strain. Authority had shifted, visibly, unmistakably, but not triumphantly. No celebration followed, no speeches. Just corrected paperwork, adjusted power, and a child who would not grow up believing her worth depended on a surname carved into stone. Sometimes standing up isn't loud, sometimes it's procedural.